Hey everybody. Hold on, let me take this off. I can't hear myself. uh, First off, I want to say this was an awesome, really awesome gift. Well, I bought it, sure, but he made it especially for me with all the little aesthetics. But my retro Jason mask from my buddy Rick at 13 Times Studios. If you don't know who that is, you should definitely check out his work on Instagram. He does nothing but make really awesome, customized Jason Voorhees masks, and right now he's doing a big sale with his Kevin Smith masks. But I'm not endorsing nothing. I'm telling you guys, just really check it out. It's good stuff. Now, what this video is going to be about is something that I've been doing. Doing Dead by Daylight on my PlayStation here. Bought the physical copy since, unlike Friday the 13th, it's a physical copy. Um, but yeah, which one do I like better? Stick around and find out.
Alright guys, so pretty much how I'm going to start this one off. Both games, in my regard, and how I see it, they're both really good horror-based multiplayer games. Dead by Daylight has a bunch of aspects of it that make it cool, but it also falls short in some areas. Friday the 13th has a few things about it that make it an amazing game. It has a freaking whole pedigree of nothing but movie lore, comic books, just regular books, just a lot of backstory to build on. So we as fans, we don't really need too much in terms of what's there. I mean, the game itself just adds even more flavor to what already is an awesome franchise. I mean, Friday the 13th has been around for such a long time now. It's helped redefine how slashers are, where Halloween itself made slasher genres the way they are. Friday the 13th just did a whole 180. I mean, adding a continuous story back to back with the way the films are. As for the game, it just adds even more to it, which I believe is a really nice touch. Now, without further ado, let's talk about these games. Alright guys, to talk about Dead by Daylight's presentation on the basic level of things, it is pretty much a group of survivors trying to survive the night against a homicidal maniac. If you only look at it as just that, then you're really not going to like too much of the game if you're just thinking that's all it is. There's actually a bit of a story behind it if you go online or read some of the backstories of some of the characters. On the PC version, there's even more to it for the fact that they kind of tied it in with Left 4 Dead in some ways, where Bill shows up as a guest character after he died in the sacrifice. And his DLC is called Left Behind. And I really think it's cool that they brought in Bill. Reading how his statistics are and whatnot, he actually sounds like one of the better survivors because he can hold his own against the killers just a little bit better. Um, there's also the fact that they added Michael Myers as well. Michael Myers sounds like one of the better killers in the game as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays once that DLC comes out on console. Anyway, for this particular game itself, I really like what they've done. Dead by Daylight just shows that when done right, a multiplayer game like this is perfect. It's not like Evolve, where Evolve you're playing as four hunters fighting against the monster and whatnot. To me, Evolve didn't have that great of a deal with it, great any kind of aspect. Evolve was just so it tried to oversell you on something, and it ended up not being such a fun game. And now it's free to play, and I think the servers are going down at some point. So really, Evolve is dead. It's just bad. But for Dead by Daylight, the game sold over 1 million units, and it's just a testament to show that when done right, a game like this can actually be sold. I mean, like they have so much in this game, which I did not expect. The way you can customize your characters, the way you can add these little perks and whatnot, and of course they have their own perks that are exclusive to the characters. It's just really cool. Even the killers, you can just customize them and whatnot. But how does Friday the 13th stack up against this game? We'll find out. Okay, so Friday the 13th. Its presentation is pretty much on the basic level the same as Dead by Daylight. Group of survivors trying to survive the night against a homicidal maniac. Except the difference is that this is probably the most famous of of TV serial killers. The fact that you're being chased around by Jason Voorhees in this game is just, it's fun, it's crazy, it's downright brutal. Whereas in Dead by Daylight, all you get that happens to you is you get stabbed and then thrown on a hook. It's fine, but Jason just adds a much more sense of brutality to the game with how he kills everybody. It's brutal, it's savage, it's just right where Friday the 13th needs to be at. I mean, Jason does not hold back. But I'm guessing with the whole hook thing and all that, they just added the whole, well, you need to feed the entity, so, there's that. But to go even further, Friday the 13th adds even more to the game by just simply being able to hop in and out of the different cabins. Yeah, there's a few indoorsy areas in Dead by Daylight, but it's not like you can just bar the door and prevent the guy from getting in. In this one, there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more places to hide. You can hide in tents, you can hide under beds, inside closets, outhouses. Really, there's just a number of places to hide, and there's like, really, it just adds so much more fun to it. Now, with the way Jason hunts down everybody, first person mode in Dead by Daylight is okay. It limits your vision, you can only see ahead of you, so it actually gives the advantage more to the player. It's like whenever you see the killer coming at you in Dead by Daylight, you gotta remember, they're only limited to just that point of view in the front. So it's kind of like tunnel vision in a lot of ways. It's just that they have no peripheral vision. That's the cool thing about third person. Third person builds up your situational awareness so high. Like for example, in this part right here, how I can just simply walk by the killer. I'm like right there, and seriously? Yep, that did happen. It made me laugh that it's like, oh shit, he's gonna chase me. I'm looking like, really, dude? I'm right here. How did you miss me? Friday the 13th, everyone has the same situational awareness, so really, it evens out the playing field in that regard. But at the same time, it's really hard to get rid of Jason. Yeah, you can fight back, but even you can fight back, you can't kill him, not easily. You have to do a lot of planning for that. You have to have Tommy Jarvis for one, and he's not even a guaranteed win. You can read the tutorial in the game. It'll tell you he is not a guaranteed win by any means. Now, the menu system for Dead by Daylight, at least, is a lot more elaborate. In Dead by Daylight, you have on the top your character selection. Second one's loadout. Third's the blood web. The fourth one is your daily rituals or weekly rituals that you have to unlock when you get more points to unlock certain perks for characters early. And then there's the customization and all that. Load times are kind of atrocious, though, in Dead by Daylight. But you can find a match almost instantly, though. That's where Friday the 13th really has its problems, is that if you try to look for a match, you'll be spending a lot of time in menus just waiting. And even though they patched it, you're going to have a long time. Now, Friday the 13th also has just a few more things that I think make it cool. Dead by Daylight, you have generators to power up. That's fine. It's pretty simple in having to do it. They even have the little skill check to make it just a bit harder for you to turn on the generators. So if it explodes, well, guess who's coming after you? Friday the 13th is just slightly different in that you have a car or a boat, or you have a foam fuse to call the police. You have those little objectives that'll help you escape in the game. Friday the 13th, though, it just gets more and more difficult. It also depends on who you play as. If you have a different assortment of people, like let's say if La Chapa or I guess Tina, that's her name, the Asian chick, both of them can fix cars fast. Tommy Jarvis is the only character in the game you cannot pick, and he is the one with the highest stats. Playing as certain characters in Dead by Daylight, you don't get any kind of you're not better or worse when it comes to repairing the generators, although there are perks you can get. And yeah, let me talk about the perks. Dead by Daylight, you know what you're getting with each character. You know what to expect because the skill tree tells you right there and then. There's always like a few concealed packages or whatnot that'll hide what you're getting, but for the most part, you know what you're being given as you level up. There's no level up system per se in Friday the 13th. I mean, yeah, you level up, but that's more or less just character unlocks. You're not really leveling up your characters, and they'll just play a bit better for having these other perks the more you play. Rolling for a perk in Friday the 13th, I think, is kind of dumb. I can't tell you how many times I get the same damn perk, and sometimes like maybe sometimes I get a better one, other times it'll be worse. I haven't been able to find a way to really enjoy it so much, and I don't even find myself using those perks as much. All they say is this is a certain percentage of your footsteps. You'll get a bit more for stamina. Doesn't feel like much. Although I will say the one that increases how many hits you take, that to me is the best one because I've run into people who have like a damage resistance of up to 45, almost 50%. And that's cool, especially if you're encountering players whose play style is more just attacking them with the axe instead of just straight up finishing them off with the really glorified kills. Another thing that Friday the 13th does have is the fact that yeah, you can finish these other guys off. It's just beautifully done. I mean, if it's another thing that I have to say though, I kind of wish that they did more with the variety of Jasons, where each one you can actually swap out their weapons because they showed in the trailers that each Jason had a different weapon than what we got in the final product. I wanted to see more. Like I would have liked to have seen Part 3 Jason with a machete more than an axe, but I mean that's what he brandished in the film. So the variety of killers though is nice in Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight, you got a hillbilly, you got the wraith, the tracker, which really the tracker is just what Jason is in Friday the 13th. He leaves bear traps for you, and I mean honestly, he looks like a version of Jason right there. In fact, it kind of looks like the Savini Jason if you just take a bit of a closer look. It's nice that they added a bit of a supernatural element. Another thing I have to talk about is level design. I'm not all critiquish about this kind of stuff. You know, I'm not a pro at this, but I want to give my opinions on these things. In terms of level design, I think with nostalgic purposes, Friday the 13th wins on that one. The reason why I say that is that the levels are beautiful. Despite the fact that it's all dark and stuff, you could see the ray of moonlight through the trees. I'm just so astounded by that. Because looking at Dead by Daylight, they don't have those kind of effects, despite the fact that they're both using the Unreal 4 engine. And I'm like thinking, how is it that Friday the 13th can look like this, yet Dead by Daylight, I mean, what, did they have a smaller development team? I don't even remember this being on Kickstarter, so I don't think Dead by Daylight was ever kickstarted or nothing like that. They had a small team, sure, but I don't know, it felt like they were trying to capitalize on what Friday the 13th was doing. I mean, it's almost like when Jaws came out a long time ago, and Spielberg, that was like a big hit no one expected, and then all of a sudden everyone started doing horror films like in the same vein of Jaws and whatnot, like Orca or Piranha. God, who remembers any of that stuff? Anyway, I just feel like they tried to jump on that bandwagon, and they tried to do their own thing, and I mean they had a year to capitalize on it, and they did good. I'm not trying to knock it. It's just like, you know, I feel like they could still do more. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more to the game than what I've been playing so far, and I've been enjoying it. So I'm not shitting on either of these games, but I will have, you know, different opinions on what I like better in one as opposed to the other. But yeah, graphically, Friday the 13th I think is the superior game. Just the way everything looks, the environments look, but it's not that it's not without its problems. I haven't noticed any glitches much in Dead by Daylight. Like, yeah, there's certain aspects like not being able to walk through a door or something because the damn the damn pallets are in the way, and you have to knock it over just so you can slide over just to get through them. as for Friday the 13th, I mean, I know that they got rid of some glitches, but I think they just found 10 new ones, and I'm not even going to bother talking about what those are because, I mean, I think the glitches are stupid. A lot of my buddies agree. The glitches that were made in the game ruin how the game plays and feels. Like why do it just to get points and whatnot? I mean, stop fucking around. Actually enjoy the damn game. Dead by Daylight, I will say, despite the fact that the levels are considerably smaller than the map sizes in Friday the 13th, what I believe they do well is, I guess, just the way, like, it feels like one giant hedge maze. I mean, there may not be hedge mazes. Ooh, that would actually be cool if they did a Shining character thingy or whatever. That would be nice. Anyway, getting off topic. But yeah, like being able to run around some of these crates, some of these dilapidated little areas and whatnot. It's nice. I'm not trying to say that they suck like that. It's just I feel like they could have done just a little bit more though. Like, because with Friday the 13th, you got your cabins and whatnot. It's a lot of wide open spaces. So there's not really a lot of places you can duck and hide in Friday the 13th. But whenever you get to a cabin, as long as Jason has that sense available, he'll know you're in there. So it's hard to get away anyway. But it's not to say that it's impossible to beat it. I mean, both objectives in the games are easy as long as there's teamwork. Friday the 13th's teamwork, that's up in the air half the time. Unless you're playing with a group of friends that you know will help you escape, it's going to be a hard friggin' time to get through it. Whereas Dead by Daylight, I noticed that the camaraderie in that game is really high. Everybody in those games are doing nothing but helping each other. I've noticed that on some occasions I find myself being chased down and then hooked by whatever killer at the time, and then when I'm seeing that the other players I'm teaming up with, they're coordinating. They're like, okay, who's gonna run in? Who's gonna run in? They don't say anything. You don't hear what they're saying. But it's like they're waiting for that right moment where one will distract and then the other will grab it off the hook and just haul ass. It's fun seeing that because you're not being captured in Friday the 13th. You're just being killed off. It's the way Jason does it. There's nothing that has him trying to capture you. He's going to fucking kill you. And when he grabs you by the throat, I mean, if someone's near and he has a weapon, if they try to save you, cool. If not, well, they're an asshole. But that's another thing about being an asshole. So many players can actually just say, wait, Jason, I'll tell you where they are. I'll tell you where they are. And that happens way more often than I'd like to see. I mean, I've even done it just to see if he's listening. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. They mute all the other players and just stay silent. But it's interesting how the sound works in the game. I've never played a game where sound. Well, actually, no. Metal Gear 4, I remember, had a similar kind of way of playing where your mic could be heard if you're within proximity of another player. I think it's been a while since I played Metal Gear Solid 4, but anyway, in this one it's cool where as long as everyone's in the game menu or game chat. If you're further away, it's like you're hearing voices from the distance, and I'm like, holy shit, that is awesome. It's the same thing with Jason, though. Like, it's the same kind of thing. He can just simply walk closer and then pretend to be a counselor if no one bothers to see the name of whoever it is. It really screws you up. So, I mean, I had my buddy just breaking and whatnot. It freaked the hell out of me. Dead by Daylight, you don't have that little aesthetic, but I guess it's because the levels are so condensed. If you try to talk, the killer can just walk by and hear you. In this one, it's like, yeah, you'll be far away, and what are the odds Jason will actually be nearby? I mean, it gets crazy. Both games have their strong points. Some of them have their really, really shitty points as well. If I had to say any of the shitty points, Dead by Daylight just suffers from the fact that there isn't enough, I guess, variety while in-game, other than just simply chasing down them, slashing them, and then throwing them on a hook. I would have liked to have seen more kills. Now, I know that there's a way to just kill them without having to throw them on the hook, but from what I understand, it takes a while to actually get that kind of perk, and the fact that it's a perk makes it even dumb. So why even have it is beyond me. Um, I can't really find much else wrong with the game, other than that. I mean, yeah, sure, graphically it doesn't look that great in comparison to Friday the 13th, but I mean, I like that has more levels, more maps, so that's at least something. Friday the 13th has fewer maps, but they are so beautifully done, so well done. It's nice to look at, nice to play around in, and just overall a really fun experience. I mean, this is just my opinion overall. I think both games are fun, they're good, and they set out what they need to do. I would like to see more from both games. I mean, there's a lot more content, I guess, in Dead by Daylight, whereas Friday the 13th only has the 3 maps. And people are saying it's only on one game mode, but I mean, really, Dead by Daylight has one game mode. It's the same shit. There's nothing to differentiate it. It's just, I mean, I don't know. In the end of the day, they're both really fun games. I mean, if I had to choose, though, I guess I would lean more towards Friday the 13th, only because I don't know. I like that there's more things and more ways to kill. You can defend yourself. In this game, it's in Dead by Daylight, you're just not being able to really defend yourself as easily, like other than throwing a board in somebody's face or something. But that's just me. I mean, that's how I see it. I would like to hear what you guys think if you've made it this far in the video. I would like to know like what you guys believe overall. Like what's better, what don't you like, what game do you prefer, which would you stick with, what do you want to see more out of each one. I mean, there's so many things that I want to hear from everybody, but I'll leave it here for now. You guys take care.